What gift is worthy of the most special dog's...
Good morning, everyone. It took me a second. I always have a second iPad here that I'm monitoring the stream from, and when I went to, I wait to address everyone until it comes up live on that iPad, and when I went to hit the link, it made me download or update the app, so it took a minute longer than it should have. I apologize. Say hello if you're in the chat. Let me know you can hear me. We got a few things we can talk about today. Nothing really pressing on the agenda. Got a million projects going on, but that's a good thing, not a bad thing. Some of them will probably never get tied up, but still having some problems getting some of these aluminum block petrol lighters to light reliably, which is not uncommon. I think mainly because a lot of those lighters were just, kind of ideas that people came up with on their own. Didn't have a whole lot of research and development that went into them. Maybe not even all that much experimentation or testing at all. Just threw together a design and started making it. And then you have issues too. I don't remember if it was, could have been somebody on the stream. So I know we were talking about file wheels last week. Also, it could have been Turner in the comments. But I do think it's possible that with some of these where the wick is located is so close to the file wheel that it could very easily lose its temper. Still have the Thorns table lighter, which I think we're going to re-wick. Excuse me. Been a little under the weather, so you are likely to hear a cough or two today when I'm unable to get to the button. But you can see when we had this on here the other week, it was lighting more than 50%. Now it's not quite that good. But I think we'll put one of David's Thorns specific wicks in it and see if it performs any better that way. Hello, Jaime. How are you today? Glad to have you with us. If you don't mind, where are you located geographically? We're here to have a cup of coffee, talk about old lighters or new lighters or really whatever kind of lighters you guys want to talk about. Texas, all right, cool. We're in the same neighborhood then. I'm in Oklahoma City, so about 2.5, 3 miles north of you. Old Henningsen is in Denmark, and we should have several others joining in. We have folks on a regular basis from all over the United States and Indonesia and Turkey, France. Trying to remember any other specific countries. It seems like we had Taiwan. I'm kind of drawing a blank, but as people show up, they'll be brought to my remembrance. But glad to have you with us. And am I pronouncing that correctly, Jaime? Is it Jaime or Jamie? My wife's name is Jamie, spelled Jamie, but her whole life people have tried to spell it the same as your name's spelled. Also, let us know. Jaime? Okay, cool. Let us know what you might be enjoying this morning if you're having a beverage while we're here hanging out talking about lighters. Call it Coffee and Lighters Live because I'm usually drinking, well, I think I always have one here, and it's gotten to the point this is really the only time I drink coffee at all is the day we do the live stream. Then I'll have a big old cup of decaf with a heavy dose of heavy whipping cream, a little bit of cinnamon, and a good amount of erythritol sweetener. Okay, cigar and Topo Chico. Cool. I'm glad to have you along, my friend. Sofa, glad to have you back. Sorry I missed you guys last week. I was trying to remember what happened. It was Thanksgiving week, but I believe that I ended up babysitting last Wednesday. I think 3 of the days last week I ended up babysitting, so it was good. But it's been, with the number of lighters I've had coming through here lately and the number of videos I've been able to get up, I've got plenty of videos up to where, hopefully, if that maintains my priority, which that's something I'm constantly struggling with, is whether my priority should be on the YouTube channel or the website, or it really needs to be all of them, and probably more work than I'm ever going to be able to do. But as long as I'm focusing on the YouTube stuff, then I would like to keep a video up every day. And so that's why you had 5 videos last week, is because we didn't have the live stream. So for the time being, if you wake up on a Wednesday and there's a regular video, then there won't be a live stream. But like I said, we got plenty of videos up, so hopefully I'm kind of getting a rhythm here as far as recording videos and still being able to do the other stuff I want to do in my life. And like I said, not just the videos, but trying to sell lighters and write about them and document everything that comes through my hands and all that. Good morning, Natha. How are things in Tulsa? It's gotten cold here for sure, but I would still consider it fall weather, so I'm not going to complain. We've hit freezing maybe once or twice. Many years we'd already been buried in snow or ice by at least one point at this time. So no, it's been good. It's been really great weather. Anything exciting going on up in Tulsa other than the state superintendent harassing the public school system? Jaime, you say the Marlboro ashtray. You talking about the rewards ashtray that I did the video on a couple weeks ago? I have not used it yet. I hadn't really decided what I was going to do with it. I looked it up, and it would sell for a little bit on eBay. And we might even use this for like one of our penny start auctions, which is what the camel pin, the camel ashtray, and the brand new street chrome 2004 full-size ZIPPO. That's our current penny start 100% to HDSA, Huntington's Disease Society of America. I try to keep those auctions running all the time, 10-day auctions, one ends, the next one starts within a day or so. And I haven't been listing anything here lately. I've got a lot of lighters I need to list. So as I'm kind of getting back into that and refocusing, like I said, I feel like I've got a million little jobs within this one job of mine that doesn't pay very well. So anyway, we'll see what happens with that ashtray. Maybe I could even use it. So use it, sell it, make it for one of those charity auctions. Which, if you guys are lighter collectors, then you want to keep your eye out on that. The link to those, and I need to write an article maybe and put specific links up over there, because I really don't have any like banner for that. But like I said, try to do those. That'd be 3 a month, and they start at a penny. I pay for the shipping. A lot of times it's just lighters that come out of my inventory. Right now I've got a lot of extra stuff. A lot of this stuff that Gavin Lannon sent, which thank you again, Gavin. Last week we auctioned off one of the all-in-one kits that Robert Hollingsworth had sent. So thank you, Robert, for that as well. But, it might be an old lighter. It might be a brand new one. But some form of a petrol lighter. In this case, the one that's running right now is the lighter and then the ashtray and pin. So where most of the auctions that we do are just the one item, that one is a little bundle. And that'll end. I started the auction last night, so that'll end in 10 days. I guess 9 days from tonight. And so, if you got a camel person, or if you collect camel, or interested in giving it to somebody for a gift for Christmas or whatever it might be, keep your eye on that. Does anybody else have that ashtray or used it? Hey, no problem. Okay. You were back before I even knew you were gone, Natha. How about you, Jaime? Have you used the ashtray or seen it elsewhere? Were you familiar with it other than the video we did a few weeks ago? It's pretty cool. I have reset everything here, so I'm working in a... Matter of fact, give me a second here, and I'm going to go turn off the AC. I had to move all the plants in last week from out on the balcony because, my granddaughter, when she realized we had several of the plants in even in the summertime, but we had got them all outside because she's such a little discoverer, like just a little toddling adventurer. But when she discovered the dirt in the potted plants, there was just no keeping her out of it. That's all she could do was pick up pieces of dirt and let them fall out of her hands, and she just loved it. So we had to get the plants out. We had to move them back because of the weather getting below freezing. And so anyway, they're all up on the counter now where I had been working, where I had been doing these live streams as well. But now I've got a little bit different setup in a different room. So let me know if you guys see anything glaring that I need to improve. If the sound is horrible, or if the lighting's bad, or there's an echo, or there's carpet in this room, so I would think the sound should be better, but I did hear one video the other day when I was editing. It sounded like sound might not be any better in this smaller carpeted room than it was in that bigger echoey room. But it's a cool ashtray, Jaime. It's got a padded kind of no slip thing there. You got 3 rests that sit down here on this, or can sit down there. They're also tight enough that some cigarettes you can pinch in there, or joints, cigarillos, blunts, whatever else you may be smoking. But then you can unscrew that little pedestal. So it kind of, allows you to have kind of a clean looking ashtray with a lot of space down there to be ashing into. And because of the way that pedestal sits and the lip here comes in, it's really not all that visible. It's kind of dark down there. So I think it's cool. I may just use it. I don't know. I got too many ashtrays. I need to start selling some. There's ashtrays everywhere. I pick them up because they're cool and cheap. Like most glass advertising ashtrays. Now this ashtray, let me get this out of the way here. One advantage being in this room is if somebody requests something, or if I need to grab something or set something aside, I got a lot more things right within my grasp right here. This ashtray is really cool though. You got the, Turkish looking buildings. Camel advertising. It's a glazed ceramic. But you guys saw that in yesterday's video. Forgetting about that. But yeah, ashtrays are cool. And when you're going around to vendor malls, what do you call them? Antique stores, those kind of places. You don't really see a lot of lighters. I don't. So it kind of keeps you interested to find ashtrays that, I find a lot of really cool ashtrays that they're not asking over $5 or $10 for. And I won't usually pay 10, but if it's a cool ashtray, if it's cool enough to get my attention, then it's worth paying $5 because even if it's not a personal interest to me, something, I've got some that are related to Oklahoma City. Hey, Waddy Woo. Thanks for joining us. Let us know where you're from. What you're drinking this morning. What projects you got going on with lighters right now. Glad to have you with us. Now I forgot what I was talking about. I don't think it was all that important. Yeah. Anyway. Ashtrays. Cool ashtrays. If there's an ashtray, that gets my attention, that's pretty cool. Like I said, I've got some around here I've got one for the, is it the Broadway cafeteria? Yeah, let me grab it here. Broadway cafeteria, Oklahoma's largest cafeteria, 10th and Class and Drive. No, Boulevard. There you go. The Boulevard cafeteria. That is a really cool ashtray. And I probably won't sell it. I would like to make a video for it. And the only reason I haven't is because I had shot some video driving in the vehicle over there around that area. The building's not there anymore. There's a sign there for it, just for historical purposes. And everything's changed, actually, even from when I shot that video, and I'll have to go back and look, I'm sure that's still in the cloud if I could put it all back together. But when I shot that video, IMSA was still right over there between there and the hospital. And they took IMSA out well over a year ago. I mean, there's a big hole in the ground right there in that big corner plot or triangular plot between the St. Anthony's complex and Midtown. Anyway, so, if I see this ashtray here of local interest to me for $5, I'll buy that every day. But the same thing, if it was as good looking of an ashtray, and this one's dusty, needs to be cleaned up. I don't think it's got any chips or anything. It's in really good shape. But if I found that for the same price, any color, any advertisement, as long as the advertisement was clear, not smudged out, damaged, whatever, well, you can make a profit off of that for $5. So, just my 2 cents. There's a lot of people in vendor malls, antique stores, that kind of place, that greatly undervalue some of the things that they themselves have to sell. It's always better to let people, try to talk you down than just give something away. That's my philosophy. But I'm glad that other people just price stuff low sometimes. It's just, maybe they just don't want to worry about it. But, yeah, lighters, ashtrays, knives, all kinds of promotional advertising items. Local advertising is very appealing to a lot of people. I've had local historical societies buy items from me. People associated with museums or memorials. So, anyway, Waddy, glad to have you with us. Okay, yeah, and see, Jaime, I don't have a lot of cigar ashtrays, although this Camel, that really is, those rests are a little bit bigger than most, cigarette ashtrays, or most cigarette ashtray rests. But yeah, I've got one or two. I've got a big glass one, heavy crystal. Yeah, there's one. A bunch of other crap on top of it, but that may be the only cigar ashtray I still have. Still have. That's a good word for it, because the one I had a really nice brass one with a dragon on it, really cool. And I just left it set out. We used to set out on the front porch there in Mesta Park. I lived right over there off of 23rd. On Francis, 22nd Francis, and we used to just sit out there on the porch, and especially on weekend nights or whatever, smoking. And so I just left that ashtray out there. Well, I've got Ring camera footage of what was probably a homeless lady. She had a bag in her hand, and she walked up. She was probably looking for butts. Is probably all she came up there for, until she saw how nice the ashtray was. But she, which it wasn't just me smoking out there. So there were other, I didn't leave any good joints out there. But there would have been, I've spent enough time working downtown, the way that homeless people used to gather around the old downtown post office down here where Scissortail Park is now. They don't need a whole cigarette. If it's got any tobacco on it, then they want it. So I think that's what she was doing. She was probably just trying to get the cigarette butts, the tobacco cigarette butts. And then when she saw how nice and heavy the ashtray was, she just dumped the whole thing off into her bag and took it. So, but yeah, that was a really nice ashtray. That's only 2 cigar type ashtrays I can really remember. Hey, generic user, glad to have you with us again. Okay, cool. Yeah, I didn't know that, Jamie or Jaime. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just maybe they just wanted to kind of make it as universal as they could. It's big for a cigarette ashtray too, but you wouldn't think. Well, I don't know. I mean, maybe if you owned a cigar bar, you'd still need ashtrays, right? So I guess they could put something like that out in a cigar bar. Who knows? But yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the cigar ashtrays with the wide rests, and typically I'm not a fan of tall ashtrays. It's one reason why I would kind of like to use this one, and I may, is because I'm curious, with this being this tall, with that pedestal in the middle, how effective it would be for keeping cigarettes and joints from falling down in there. Because that's why I don't like tall ashtrays, is because stuff's always falling, you know, what you're trying to save up here is constantly falling down in there. So anyway, we'll see. Maybe I should use it and just see how. I mean, it should clean up easy enough. It's stainless steel. Should just be able to take some steel wool to it. Yeah, and I don't know what you mean about older. It's 1996 that it was made in China. RJR, whatever that is. I forget what RJR, something Reynolds. Tobacco, RJ Reynolds Tobacco Company, 1996. Generic user, we usually stream for anywhere from an hour and a half to 2.5 hours, maybe a hair longer than that sometimes, but it all just depends. My phone was fully charged when we started today, so I don't know if I could make it to 3 hours, and that would be 1 o'clock. That's not terrible. I still have plenty of time I need to get the Christmas tree put up today and do a few other things. But yeah, I mean, it's usually between, sometimes as little as, seems like maybe a few weeks ago we had one that was just about an hour and a half, which that's because I was babysitting that afternoon. So a lot of it is determined by whether they need somebody to watch my granddaughter. And my daughter's pregnant again too, so I'm about to have another grandson. So that could be, things are going to be a little bit busy on that baby front for a while. But like I said, the way I got set up here, I got plenty of videos up right now and it is kind of hard sometimes to squeeze in the live stream, but what I'm going to try to do is, if I can't have the live stream, then I'll have a video up that day instead. But yeah, usually about an hour and a half to 2 hours, 45 minutes maybe has been the longest, I think. Yeah, I agree with you, Sofa. Yeah. You said too easy to to get the stuff out of, or too hard to get the stuff out of. I agree with you, but that's what's cool about this one. Now, well, really, it shouldn't. If you keep that thread it all the way in, or even just in at all while you're using it. Probably keep more of it out by keeping it threaded all the way down. But really, you shouldn't dirty up those threads. So, at some point it may require a little bit of scrubbing or cleaning if you get too much buildup down there. But my only question is how good a job this pedestal does at keeping things propped up. And it might do a pretty good job. So, yeah. I don't remember when I looked them up what these were selling for on eBay, but maybe one of them hadn't sold. I don't think there had been any sold, but the one was, seems like listed for maybe no more than 20, and the other one was listed for like 35. So it's not like they got a ton of value anyway. So I may just go ahead and use it. I'm not sure how that was formed, or if that looks like a seam. So I don't know how they made that. Is that stamped somehow? All the steel that we ever worked with, and it wasn't stainless steel, in a machine shop was bar stock. We made valves that were cast iron. Let me think about this now. We had valves that were cast ductile iron. But now that I think about it, no, I think all the steel valves we did, we fabricated. So basically welding a different pipe on the sides of another pipe to form like a big gate valve. 3-4 inch gate valves. Anyway. This is advertised as stainless steel, and it just, like I said, you can even see it from out here a little bit. Just the wave there. But it looks like a seam. Maybe it's the coat. There's some kind of like powder coat on this. Maybe it's, I don't know. Doesn't matter anyway. It's my curiosity. So what do you mean? Oh, you talking about the pedestal sofa not being stainless? I didn't think about it. Is it not? I don't know. Could just be polished stainless, whereas this is like a brushed. I would assume that's what it was when you're calling it a stainless steel ashtray, but I don't know. Maybe. I guess calling it a stainless steel ashtray doesn't mean every single component. Obviously the pad on the bottom, but that's sort of an ancillary thing there. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what you mean by sleeved. Like you think maybe there's a seam down here too? Looks like just a nut welded down there to the bottom. Yeah, you're right. Um, that's funny you say that. Our friend Friedrich mentioned that the other day in a comment. I was wondering whether this was still fueled or not. Yeah. Um, but that's what this kind of looks like to me. But from what I've read, that's what Hot Wheels are made of. Friedrich said that KitchenAid mixers are made from it, Zamac, but you call it monkey metal. So yeah, I think there is a possibility that a few of these lighters were not actually technically aluminum. I think they might have been Zamac, which is what, some zinc, aluminum. I don't know. It's a variant alloy. I wonder where the term monkey metal, where that comes from though. That's kind of a funny term. I do have some ZIPPO lighters out here. I think I've got 4 of them from the period of 2000 to 2006. And I'm not going to mention him by name. I assume he's a gentleman, a man, but maybe not. Most lighter collectors are. But it was ZIPPO fan, obviously, and he ended up getting mad at me. But he was telling me that the lighter, which is this one, the one that's in the current listing with the ashtray and the pen, he was telling me that it was counterfeit, that the insert was counterfeit. And I asked him if he would explain why. And his explanation was because it said made in ZIPPO USA. That he had never seen a ZIPPO that didn't say ZIPPO made in USA, and therefore this one had to be counterfeit. And I sent him a link to a page on Glenn's ZIPPO site because, I'm not a ZIPPO expert. I mean, I like ZIPPOs. But again, I'm not an expert. I got plenty of questions. There are experts. Our friend Jen Kim and Mario Bear, those guys are experts. They can tell you a lot of stuff. Rob Giaretta, I mean, not only is he a really nice guy and has always been really helpful to me, but he knows a lot of stuff. Sometimes you run into a place where you need to figure something out and you can't find the information, so you got to ask somebody. But there's a lot of information out there too, and that's why I went to the Glenn ZIPPO website. Because when he said your insert's counterfeit, I don't know. I've never studied this. I never put any thought to that phrase, made in ZIPPO USA. Anyway, what I was showing you on this one, different lighter, same year, same marking, made in ZIPPO USA. Which, it showed that on the Glenn ZIPPO website, and I sent the guy the link. Anyway, he ended up getting mad at me, telling me it was still counterfeit, and then telling me he was unsubscribing, which I'm really sorry about. I don't ever want to run anybody off. But at the same time, he's commenting on a video that is embedded in my eBay listing, and he's claiming that it's counterfeit. So I'm just putting the information out there, trying to show him that it's not. But in that conversation, he ended up telling me that he had been collecting Zippos for 10 years. Kind of clicked, maybe he hadn't been collecting all that long. Maybe he didn't know much about older lighters, and that there were variances, different stamps and things like that. And so he said 10 years, and so I'm sure that's what it was. I mean, he kept saying that every lighter that he has collected, he got from the factory itself, and that he had never seen one stamped like that. Well, those stamps, like I said, you got two here from 2004. The Glen Zippo website showed that insert being used, I believe, from 2000 to 2006. There's one from 2005, same marking, made in ZIPPO, USA. But not only that, but the previous insert, the information was on there sideways, but even it said made in ZIPPO, USA. So, and from kind of browsing the stamp graphic that I found on Google, the stamping of the inserts, it looked like it also was stamped on there that way back in the 50s at one point. So anyway, I've never claimed to be a Zippo expert. But I would ask you, if you want to come onto one of my videos or onto one of my eBay listings and accuse me of listing something that is counterfeit, please have the correct information, because you're affecting, maybe whether or not people bid on it. And, hey, if it's fraudulent, if it's counterfeit, I want to know too. So, let's pass around good information. Not just claim it's counterfeit because you're not familiar with it. It's kind of similar to the, in the Facebook lighter groups, a lot of times I'll see people bring up the, let me see if I got one right here. The script logo. There's a version, I think it's a smaller version of that script logo, that was on the bottom of some Japanese releases in maybe the 90s, could be the 80s, I can't remember, 80s or 90s. But you see it all the time. Somebody comes on there, somebody comes on the Facebook group, posts a picture of the bottom of the lighter, and 5 people will tell them that it's counterfeit before somebody who's familiar with the fact that that Japanese release did happen with the older script stamp at a later time, sort of like the replicas, could clear it up. But, there's a lot of nuanced information to know. So, once again, that's one reason why I've never claimed to be a Zippo expert. There's just way too much information. Like I said, Rob Gioretta, that guy, he knows, it seems like, everything. Rob Johnson, eBay username is ZippoRob81, I believe. He lists a lot of good lighters, sells a lot of good lighters, but he's kind of a encyclopedia of Zippo information as well. Like I said, I mentioned earlier Mario Bear. Mario used to comment on our videos all the time, and when I would make a mistake or need help identifying something for what exact year, or whether it belonged, whether it was original, that kind of thing, Mario was always great about straightening those things out. Jin Kim is great with all that kind of information too. So there's definitely some Zippo experts out there, but it ain't me, and it ain't 99% of the people commenting in the Facebook groups. So, but there's plenty of good information out there. I wrote that article a while back about dating Zippo lighters, and put a link to Glen Zippo, Moonlight Zippo, I Love Zippo, or is it We Love Zippo, or We Heart Zippo, something like that. The Toledo Bend page even has some good Zippo information. They all kind of Passionate Wick has some good information. So, but you got to kind of, without asking questions, sometimes you really got to sort through several of those to get to the bottom of it. So, but that's why I'm glad to have people like Mario and Jen Kim that watch the videos, and that way, it may not always happen right off the bat, but usually, eventually, if I got a question about a particular ZIPPO, somebody's going to end up answering it, even if it takes a while. Check back on the chat here. Yeah, interesting term, Sofa. Yeah, you said you look for the crimp marks. You talking about? I'm not sure. Or were you talking about the counterfeit inserts? Yeah, well, there are people that collect fake ones, and sometimes they're funny, because it's done so bad or so crudely, or kind of scratched on the bottom or whatever. I don't know. They don't really appeal to me. Sometimes I think it's funny, but I can't imagine like collecting them. But that's the cool thing about collecting, man. Is something different floats everybody's boat, You're not going to find any other lighter collector who 100% agrees with you on everything. They're always, if you're a purely ZIPPO guy, then it's going to be about what it's adorned with. Are you a Harley Davidson guy, or a Camel or Marlboro guy, or whatever, what other kind of motif you might like. But when it's general lighter guys, there may be a bunch of us out there who love all kinds of lighters, and I do. But I don't think that there's anybody out there who has the same exact appreciation that I have, say, for Cygnus lighters and Park lighters and Thorns lighters and ZIPPO lighters. And, kind of work your way down my Dunhill lighters, the ones that really get me excited. We're all kind of different, So I got nothing against it if people want to collect them. Hello, Shane. How are things up your way? Sorry we didn't get to talk last week. I explained already why I missed the live stream last Wednesday, but I assumed that you probably knew that there were other things going on Thursday. And I saw where you and Waylon got your dinner again, so that was awesome. Ah, okay. So you're saying some of the counterfeit ones don't have the seam? It's like a cheaper metal that's been stamped or something? I think there's a pretty broad cross-section of counterfeit ones as well. I think you can find some that are pretty close. Azrael's talked about that, and some of the lighters that he's bought. Seems almost like he said that any Zippo that he bought was going to be counterfeit. Like in his country, the best he could do was this. He said, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but he can correct me if he sees this or shows up right now. But he said you couldn't tell the difference. So I don't know. It seems like when he showed a video or maybe just a photo of the 1941 replica that he bought that way on the Discord, the case and everything did looked real to me, but it just had a regular looking insert in it. It didn't have the 41 replica insert. Hello, Dylan. Oobla doobla. Lunchtime already? Gotcha, Sofa. Yeah. Like I said, I don't know. I don't know that I've ever had a counterfeit Zippo in my hands. Trying to remember. If I did, I'd say most likely it ended up getting sold off in what most people would consider a junk lot of used Zippos. And I just missed, I didn't identify it if that was the case, because I don't remember ever having one. But, I've had quite a few Zippos go through my hands, but it's not like that's been, well, I mean, probably more Zippos than any other single brand. I don't know. Park is, well, I've had a lot of Ronson lighters too, but Park is, I've had a lot of Parks. Yeah, just a little bit, Dylan. I don't know. Could be not. It may just be the weather, it may just be allergies. But, yeah, just about everybody in my family's been sick. But not terribly, just started with my granddaughter, and from there it seemed like everybody else got it. But I don't know, it may have just been, nobody was, violently ill or anything. It's just like congestion, so it usually happens around here a couple times a year. And I'm definitely on the downhill side of it too. It was, I don't know. The cough has been worse the last couple of days. Before that, the sore throat for a few days was just kind of annoying. But I think I'm about over it. Not complaining either way. Any of you guys collect ashtrays? And if so, what kind of ashtrays do you like? I got a few ashtrays around here. Some that need to be cleaned up. This one's pretty cool. I don't remember if I ever did a video on that one. Pretty cool. Multicolor advertising for Kemper Thomas Company, Cincinnati, Ohio, but also there's a local office listed down here in Oklahoma City. And I'm sure I've talked about this one on the stream before. It's set on the on the dash of my Jeep for years. But I think this belonged to some bigger piece. Yeah, we talked about this before. That's right. Shane was even here when we talked about it before. Like maybe it belonged in a ashtray stand. Hello, Turner. Yeah, no problem. You don't need to apologize, man. Sometimes that's just the way things go. I usually don't have a lot of discretion. Either I've got a schedule to get to, which is usually babysitting, or once or twice it's been lunch. I had somebody I was meeting for lunch. But then also the battery. So that's all that's determining when we got to go. So, yeah, no hard feelings. Glad to have you here whenever you can get here. Also, glad to have all your comments on the videos as well. You mentioned during one of them, you said one more spam, but there's no reason to worry about spam. All the comments are good, man. Yeah, man. Hopefully your appointment goes well. I was doing it on Tuesday, but Tuesday has seemed to be one of the kind of the go-to day. If there's only one day of the week that I end up babysitting, it seems like it's usually Tuesday. So that's why we moved to Wednesday. But, depending, we could do them on a Monday, could do them possibly on a Friday. Thursday's hard because I have a weekly schedule that I try to keep with a couple of buddies of mine. Well, Turner, I don't do it all for free. I do get paid a little bit of money here for what I do on YouTube. And I always appreciate that. Like our friend Thwan Wynn. Thwan used to say hello on our video every morning. And, then at one point we broke our streak of doing a video every weekday morning. And then we didn't hear from Thwan for a while. But I heard from Thwan one day earlier this week. And he doesn't say this every time. But he did mention in this week, that when he commented this week, that he watched all the ads. So I appreciate that. I do. Because it does make a difference. And, may not be a ton of money. Nobody's getting rich or anything like that. But, it'll help pay a bill or two. And also, I got a million other things going on. I do sell lighters on eBay. I do have affiliate links on the website. So if you click on any of those links in the articles where you can buy, say, flint or fuel from Amazon or eBay, then we earn a commission on those. And I also earn a commission when you click through the links for my own lighters that I have listed, as well as, there are possibly links over there to other people's listings that may be affiliate links. So there are a few different ways that I make money. And like I said, at this point in time, it's not a very lucrative job. But I do enjoy it, Turner. I enjoy it a lot. And, I am extremely thankful to be able to spend the time that, my current work time doing something that I thoroughly enjoy. So, and I appreciate all you guys too, Turner. If nobody was watching, if nobody was paying attention, if nobody else cared about lighters, then, wouldn't be much sense in me putting all this information out there. So. You know, just like I was kind of that way when I first started Turner, and that's why I started making the videos and stuff, is because a lot of those things weren't out there. I mean, you couldn't, before I did it, you couldn't find a single video of a Ronson lighter being re-wicked. Find instructions, people telling you how to do it, or the instructions from the Ronson pamphlet telling you how to do it, but I couldn't do it that way. So I know what you mean. It was sort of the same way with cannabis. I had a little bit of help from my buddy, advice from my buddy David, from a long ways away, but a lot of it I was figuring out on my own because there just wasn't information. So anyway, there's a lot more lighter information out there now today, a few years later, and there's a whole lot more information on cannabis out there. Yeah, I've had a few Jaime. I've had a few butane inserts. I've got a ZIPPO butane insert that crapped out on me, and I'm no help at all on fixing those. I think, excuse me, I think I followed along with a ZF77 video to try to repair that, or try to get the spark to work better on that butane insert, and I completely messed it up. So I just, whether it be old, new, whatever with butane, I've never been able to. It's just a whole other animal from petrol lighters. See, and the fact that y'all are even having to have that conversation about do this or do that, I mean, it should just work. I think he was talking about the torch, wasn't he? Oh, he said soft flame. So Thunderbird made one that is both? It'll do a soft flame and a torch? I don't have any experience with the Thunderbird. And I've got a lot of lighters coming in today that there's an alternative ZIPPO insert in there, but I think I couldn't tell. There was only one picture from one angle of that particular lighter or mechanism, and it looked to me from the button like it was probably the arc insert, which I still have the arc insert around here somewhere. It's not terrible for what it does. But I'm still looking for the only butane lighters out of all the lighters that I've had go through my hands, old, new. I've had a few that were useful and worked and still held gas. An old Calibri, no, it was a Chrysler, silver-plated pipe butane lighter. Shane might remember. I carried it with me when I went to see him up in Seattle. But it quit working on me somewhere around 2019. And I've still got it around here, but I took it apart at one point to see if I might be able to convert it to a petrol lighter. And I stumbled and lost a handful of parts. So, stuff happens sometimes. And then there was also what was the other one? Somebody at one point told me they had that lighter. I made a video because I'd still like to find one. I'm trying to remember now what the brand was. It was Ibello or J Bello. An Ibello or J Bello, which is related to Calibri and Chrysler and all that. But this was a tall roller butane lighter. Really nice. I think it was some sort of lacquer finish. And I damaged it but I was still using it. It was a really useful butane lighter. I used it for a long time, and I dropped it off the balcony out here one night, and by the time I could get downstairs, somebody had already grabbed it. Which I've dropped a couple of phones off that balcony as well, and one of those somebody had grabbed by the time I got down there too. I dropped my ZIPPO, my all-around etched leaf ZIPPO, off that same balcony. Huh. Yeah, I'd be interested in seeing that one that did a jet, a torch, and a soft flame. I've been using my soft flame insert a lot for lighting this little Gandalf, which kind of cool. Doesn't fit it perfectly, but it holds it safely. So I'm finally been able to use that Dunhill pipe rest. Yeah, I just picked that up. I don't know if you're familiar with Grav. They make some nice stuff, and a lot of it's really expensive. But they had those over there the other day at the dispo, and they were just $20. So I thought, well, let's try one. Most of the stuff I have is either hand pipes, well, chillums, a lot more chillums, a couple of hand pipes, and then some big water bongs. But yeah, I like that. It's the first one I've had really even in that style. Well, maybe a couple of smaller ones, but yeah, I like that one. Oh, I was showing off ashtrays a while ago. I got more. And they're all dirty. Some of them look like they've been used since they were last cleaned. I think I did a video on this one. That's a pretty cool little 3-rest ashtray for Peck's Barbecue and Grill in Culver City, California. There's a pretty cool Oklahoma City advertiser. And that was a gift from my cousin Andrea. I won't be selling that one, but I might use it. I wonder if it would protect, if there's something I could put on here, maybe I could affix it out here that would protect that. You scoot that along a table enough times and it's going to wear your advertisement off. Another of the ashtrays that Gavin Lannon sent. Here's a really cool one. This is, let's see if I can remember, Chinese cinnabar or carved lacquer, I think is the right term. Now, after I made the video, somebody told me that they thought that this was later production, not actual. This was some kind of cheaper reproduction. And I don't know, really. It seems to me the base is, I don't know, it's kind of weird because there's obviously metal. It's like brass here, brass here. And so I guess the rest of it is technically some kind of resin. And I guess the reproduction would be some kind of plastic. So, I don't know. Reproduction or not, pretty cool. I never used this one. I got this in a lot of several other things. There was a Thorns double claw in it that didn't have a file wheel in it. There was an ashtray, a military ashtray that ended up selling for a pretty high amount. Both those together were about $300. The Thorns and the military ashtray. But then there were several other lighters and ashtrays, and I've got a Canadian ashtray over here that I need to send to somebody. That was from that lot. Anyway, this was in there. I'm trying to remember what else. And I know there was at least one ZIPPO Slim. Yeah, the other lighter's not really standing out. It was like an enameled letter opener. It's kind of weird sometimes, the things you find. Things you end up buying to get lighters. And then some of those other things are worth pretty good money too. That's cool though. And that's all the ashtrays I see right here at the moment, without digging stuff out of. I've got stuff crammed in every corner of this apartment. Yeah, well, that 1 in 5 of them is garbage. Well, I don't know. You know, I like the soft flame ZIPPO butane insert, but I gotta agree with J-Row Lights and anybody else who at the time said that it was a little bit hard on the thumb, or that they had a hard time hitting the gas. The lighter is not fun to use. It's kind of reminiscent of the ZIPPO Blue. Why they couldn't have just used I don't know why the sparking mechanism has to be that much different than what was already on their petrol. Well, obviously the sparking mechanism doesn't. You got to have something to actuate the gas. But it's just it's hard to spark. It's hard on the thumb. It is. It works pretty well, but it's hard on your thumb. Anybody got any lighter projects that they're about to undertake? Any questions? Curious about the way to do this or that? I bought some Dunhill Blue Flints the other day. These look different. I've recorded one video with them. I don't think it's aired yet. But I don't know. I'm not so sure that these are the same product as those. This is a more light blue, and I don't know. It just looks different from those others. This almost looks more like a coating, where the other one looked, I don't know, just like that was color of the outside of the metal, or the hour metal. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess Dunhill's still in business. Maybe this is the new packaging. I don't know. The one that I used them in, they didn't work. It didn't help the thorns at all. I can't remember now. Like I said, I recorded a video. I haven't even edited it yet. So, yeah, I think I recorded that earlier in the week. But I don't know. We'll see. There's definitely, I've had put these in some lighters that just weren't, or I shouldn't say these, Dunhill Blues. Like I said, they look different. But I've been convinced that these were a superior product. So if they've been altered, then who knows? It does say here, made in Austria, packaged in China. And the address it gives for Dunhill is in London. Flints in the red wallet are for use in all Dunhill roller gas lighters and certain earlier butane and petrol models. Flints in the blue wallet are for use in all Dunhill dress, gemline, silphide, and unique lighters, including the table model and some earlier models. This size of flint is also suitable for most other makes of lighter. Kind of interesting that it doesn't mention the roller light. Anyway, we'll see. You got plenty of them around for the time being anyway. Yeah. Right now, I think what's it called? International Vintage Lighters is really the only place on eBay or Amazon. ElegantLighters.com. I think it's also the same guy that, or the same family anyway, that did or do is it authorized retail or not? No, authorized repair services, ARS, in South Carolina, I think. It's also the same seller that Larry Leiter is always posting in the Facebook Lighter groups, calling him a crook. Mainly, Larry's gripe with him seems to be that he doesn't identify every single minute detail about every lighter in his listing. And, you know, Larry's got a lot of information, you know, and I think maybe Larry assumes that everybody else has that same information. But just because somebody's been around it a long time, and to me, buying lighters on eBay anyway, it's, you know, I mean, I try to list my things accurately, but do I expect every seller that I buy something from to go through, you know, well, I mean, there's plenty of lighters. I hardly ever sell a lighter with a box, and I'm not making the comment in the listing that it doesn't have a box. I'm just selling the lighter. So, you know, I think Larry's criticisms sometimes may be more of a personal nature with the fellow that runs the place than his actual. I think he's going too far calling the guy a crook. Unless he knows something else he's not telling everybody. But I agree with you. I wish they were easier to get. And I think one of the reasons may be that they're not, I know on their website it says, or at least on the business card that came with these flints, it said authorized service, whatever you call it, authorized service and repair for Dunhill. So maybe they've got an exclusive deal with Dunhill because of that. Maybe you can buy them through the Dunhill website or the various places that Elegant Lighters or International Vintage Lighters has them listed online. But I'll say this too. I mean, it's not a terrible price. I think it was about $15 a sleeve. And I bought two, so that knocked like $3 off. So it's like $27 there and about for two of them. But yeah. Now, I will say this as well. I got an email from somebody at one point who, they were kind of miffed. They had bought some lighters from the same seller, and they didn't even receive like one of these little cardboard wallets, you know, with 9 flints in little pouches. They received a Ziploc bag with 9 Dunhill Blues in it. They were kind of upset about it, and I guess I can see why. I think for me personally, I would be more, as long as I got 9 Dunhill Blue flints and they work the way I expect them to. I mean, I'd rather have 9 of them in a Ziploc bag that work like I expect them to than to get something that looks official and isn't. So, and I'm not saying these aren't. You know, there may be some degree of it. Just depends on the lighter. And that lighter that I put or those 2 lighters that I put one of these in the other day that they didn't respond to. Well, maybe the lighter's not the flint. So jury's still out on that. I'm still a fan of these Dunhill Blues, but a little bit. I agree with you. They definitely do not look the same. It's an odd color too. Well, I can understand why, you know, you look at the eBay listing and it's got, you know, one of these right there on it, right there. Then you expect that that's what you're going to get. But, you know, whatever. I think it probably would have been better of him to disclose that in a listing. You know, these aren't in their original packaging. But a lot of the stuff that Larry Leiter is criticizing for, things like listing a Ronson D-Light in a box that's not the right box, or I've seen that several times where, you know, and like I said, I don't know that you can hold everybody to that. Does every seller and are they all required to know which box belongs? I don't even think the listing said original box. It just said it was in a box. I don't know. Like I said, it seems like there may be a personal vendetta there. Which, by the way, it's Bob Dylan lighter here. I'm not going to pull it out again. But the insert in it, that's a 2002 lighter. And the insert in it also says, made in ZIPPO, USA. For my friend in the comment section yesterday who was convinced that any ZIPPO that said that was counterfeit, check out all the information out there. I wasn't trying to be, I was really trying to learn. That's why I looked it up on the Glen ZIPPO site. And there's no shame to having to learn something in this hobby, because there's something man, there's so much information that we just don't have. So much that was lost to time. Different ephemera. That's why I think some of the, like that lighter repair manual, why I think it's so cool. There's a lot of information in there and a lot of, I don't know, if somebody hadn't saved a few of those, we as a hobby would be hurting without it. The park catalog that I uploaded to the DependableFlame.com website a couple of months ago, that's really cool. It shows you, okay, here's what you could do. Here was the catalog that you looked at in 1956. Here was their, rate sheet. Here was the order form. Here were, these different paper. It was just, it's cool, So, anyway, there's plenty of information, and there's nobody that has it all or knows it all. There's always something that can be clarified on this point or that point, or there's just too much information about all the light, even about ZIPPOs. There's just too many ZIPPOs that's been out there. Different motifs that have been put on them, or bottom stamps, or I saw in a Facebook group a couple of weeks ago it was a camouflage ZIPPO with a painted coating on it. And it didn't have a date stamp. It had, I think it was ZIPPO stamped on it like gold leaf or something, or maybe it was just gold colored paint. But it had ZIPPO on it and gold on the bottom, and people were saying, "That's fake. That's fake." And then other people who were aware come in and say, "Nope. This is when they first started doing these. They didn't know how to do it, and so that's what they did. But that's legitimate ZIPPO." So there are always outliers. Yeah, there's a million little nuances when it comes to ZIPPO lighters. So I got a box of lighters that should be here. It's supposed to be delivered today. And I'm also going to, I think I mentioned earlier, try to get the Christmas tree up. So I don't know if you guys have those kind of chores that you need to take care of this week, but the holidays will be here before we know it. Has anybody seen any other cool lighter content this week? Anything that Eastwa Doomflum posted on TikTok? Or Bill Calkins and In With the Old LLC on Instagram and Facebook. I don't know how many of you saw the posts that old Arp Henningsen has put up over the last, which he was with us back here when we first came on. I don't know if old Arp is still with us or not. But he's posted several groups of his lighters over on the DependableFlame.com Facebook group. But I'd be glad to hear about anything that you guys have seen this week. Anything noteworthy or that stood out to you? See what else I've got here. This lighter is still struggling a little bit. If you get it right in its sweet spot, it'll seem like it's really good, reliable lighter. But it runs out real quick, and not only that, but it's prone to vapor lock as well. This Thorns was lighting really well at first. Not so well these days. And there you can see it. You can jump start it off there. It's kind of a weak flame, so I just think that I think with this ignition area being so tight in here, I think it holds vapor lock till just about the time that it runs out of fuel. That's my working theory anyway. Not a very big tank. Yeah, less than the size of a tube of chapstick. Just basically from there to there. Not much. And the wadding, it's not usually super tight in these. That's pretty tight though. That's pretty tight. So, I don't know. Maybe we ought to loosen up the wadding and try it again. We'll see about that. That was my wick job. Let's see. Yeah, I saw you mention that name, Shane, yesterday, and I didn't recognize it. Who is Sharon Moore? I haven't really heard any names. I read an article yesterday. It talked about Seth Luttrell. I saw somebody mention to you, Seth Luttrell, and was that Joe John Finley? Is there a possibility? Are they both on the staff right now? But I don't really think it matters. I mean, obviously, I hope they make a good choice, but you know. We've done really good things offensively with everyone from Mike Leach to Chuck Long to Mark Mangino. You know, what? Was our worst offensive coordinator Josh Heupel? And I think that's probably because Bob Stoops was keeping the leash on him so tight. And not only that, but man, Heupel's also the offensive coordinator that called the game against Alabama, where Trevor Knight looked like he was an All-American. That's weird. I can't believe I don't know that name, Shane. But that's interesting. Joe John Finley, wasn't he at UCO at one point? Yeah, I saw that. We get to play Heupel in the first game. Yeah, and that schedule next year is no joke either. Yeah, it leaked out. Give that a minute to calm down. Yeah, we play Alabama, LSU. I don't think we play Georgia. I can't remember if we played Florida or not, but it's going to be fun. Looking forward to it. I think USC is seeing right now why um, Lincoln Riley wasn't looking forward to it either and decided he wanted to go somewhere else. Yeah, that's going to be fun. To me, it's the University of Oklahoma. There are a handful of schools who have an argument, but there is nobody that clearly um, beats Oklahoma when it comes to football tradition, history, national championships. I know Alabama's had a lot of success lately, and they have passed us. They have more legitimate total of number of national championships than we do, but it isn't anywhere near as many as they claim. That's why I never understood those schools like Alabama and USC who claim all these bizarre national championships. You know, some high school newspaper named them as the national championship, and they claim it. It's weird. The only ones that OU's ever claimed were the AP and coaches polls, and of course, those were the polls that went into forming the BCS, which led to, you know, what we have now. So, yeah, I'm glad he did too. It at least forced our hand because it wasn't working. It hadn't been working under Bob Stoops for a long time. So, I mean, our defense had just been so bad. So, I think we got the right guy now. 06, 07. So that was right about the time of AD. AD was like 04 to 06. Trying to remember. Yeah, I don't remember a whole lot about those teams other than AD. I used to, Jaime. I had season tickets for a long time. The last games I went to were in 2019. I think I went to 3 games that year. And then COVID hit, and they didn't have spectators at the game for 2020. And then, I let my season tickets go at that point. But, you know, I still might go to a game here or there. But I'd rather watch it on TV, to be honest. I grew up listening, and I got to go even when I was a kid. My mom worked for an oil company whose owner had season tickets. So at least once a year, my brother and I would get to go down there and go to the game, hang out all day. But, you know, back then, if you didn't get to go to the game and you were going to stay at home, then, you know, there were a couple of games a year other than the bowl game at most, 2 or 3 at most, that were going to be televised. Where now you get every single game is on some kind of TV. But yeah, I got to go to a lot of games when I was a kid. I've been to a lot of games as an adult. Glad I got to take my kids to the games. But I just don't enjoy it that much anymore. I'll do it every now and then, but it's a lot of people packed in there real tight. Yeah, especially with the, 4K TV, and it's even watching on TV is not like it was when we were kids. But, man, I'm telling you, so many games, and so many of the big OU games, like OU Nebraska games and OU OSU Bedlam games when I was a kid, were listened to on the radio. John Brooks was the voice of the Sooners when I became aware of OU football in the early 80s, and or maybe late 70s. And then a little bit later, They changed companies, and so they got rid of John Brooks, and Bob Berry was the voice of the Sooners. And they were both great, both great. Toby Rowland's good. I enjoy listening to the OU broadcast now. But yeah, to me, the voice of the Sooners will always be John Brooks. Jiminy Christmas. You got a college fan or a college team that you're a fan of, Jaime? By the way, if anybody's got any OU, Sooners, or really Oklahoma-related lighters at all, I'd be interested. John Brooks was great. Penn State, huh? Okay. Yeah, obviously, OU had a lot of, no, not a lot of history with Penn State, but definitely some major history with beating Penn State in the Orange Bowl in after the 1985 season. We beat Penn State in the Orange Bowl, and who was it that beat Miami in the Sugar Bowl? I can't remember. Somebody beat Miami. Miami had beat us earlier in the year. Troy Aikman got his leg broke, and Jamel Holloway came in. And Jamel Holloway was the greatest wishbone quarterback that ever played the game. The guy was a magician. He was amazing to watch. And once Jamel stepped on the field, there was never any doubt of whether Troy was going to play again or not. Troy was done at OU. But yeah, 1985 national championship season. The other national championships had all either been before I was born or was unaware. 74, 75, I was 3 and 4 years old. So that one in 85 was really big. And yeah, we played Penn State. Penn State was really good around that time. They played Miami in the Orange Bowl one year, and I think they beat them, 86 or 87. We got beat by Miami all 3 of those years. We played them in the regular season in 85 and 86, and we played them in the bowl in 87. We lost to them every time. But those were some great OU teams. Tennessee, okay. There you go. Was that, who was Tennessee's, was that, no, T. Martin, that was later. Was Johnny Majors the coach Tennessee then? Yeah. Yeah, Miami had some really good teams. But OU had a lot of good teams too. But it was, I don't know, it was kind of weird back then. We had so many good players. It was like players... we had so many good players that it was like Patrick Collins, Anthony Stafford. I'm trying to think of who the running backs were then. But it was like they were just all interchangeable. And one of them would go for 135 yards this game, but then the next game he might not, he might not even really get the ball. It was just kind of, it was a system. I mean, it won football games. And there were great athletes that came out of it. There were, especially in the 70s, somewhat in the 80s, you had Steve Sewell that played in the NFL. You had Spencer Tillman that played for a short time. Oh man, I can't remember Sterling Shepard's dad. I can't remember his first name, but he played in the NFL for a year or two, played with the Cowboys and the 49ers. But you didn't have, we got all kinds of skilled players in the NFL right now. And we didn't have that. And offensive linemen, too. We didn't have offensive linemen playing in the NFL during the Wishbone era. So it was a little different. You had some defensive linemen, yeah. You had some great defensive players. Man, if Bosworth hadn't, been pretty much already injured to the point that he was. Who knows? I mean, he didn't even really get started, but he was a great college player. Yeah, we had a lot of great defensive talent. Tony Casillas and Rick Bryan. I don't think Dr. Death Steve Williams, he didn't ever play in the NFL, did he? He was certainly one of the bigger names as far as defensive players back then, though. But Dante Jones played for the Bears for a long time. Yeah, we had plenty of defensive players, but first of all, our quarterbacks were not going to play quarterback in the NFL, and I don't know. It's hard for me to really explain why the running backs. Of course, some of them, Mike Gaddis, he could have played. He would have stood out in any system. And he would have been an NFL great if it hadn't have been for being hurt. And Marcus Dupree, he obviously stood out. But I don't know, it always seemed to me like more of those guys from those crowded backfields from the late 70s and 80s should have been playing in the NFL. Lydell Carr from Enid, Oklahoma. Yeah. He was a good one. Yeah, there you go, Derek Shepard. I hope we haven't run off all the lighter people with the talk about OU football. It's been fun though. It's been good to have, not to just be completely frustrated every week. Last year was pretty frustrating, and not only that, but apart from a year or two here and there, it's just kind of been the way it's been for a long time. Obviously, with Baker and Kyler Murray, there were some years there well after Sam Bradford. So like between Sam Bradford and Baker Mayfield, there was a lot of frustration that occurred there. So maybe that's some of that's a little bit unfair because we did have really good success with Baylor and Kyler, and even with Jalen Hurts. And we made the playoffs. Some of those, we make the playoff with all three of them. But see, that's part of it too. That builds into the frustration too when you go to the playoff and then lose it. And that's why I say it's best to go to the SEC in the first place, compete against the best you can compete against. It obviously hasn't hurt Alabama or any of those other teams. And like I said earlier, OU doesn't take a back seat to anybody. There are a few others that can be considered on that same level, and we can talk about it, but nobody just shuts OU out of the conversation. Oh, yeah, Keith Jackson. What a great offensive player. Yeah. Way better, way more utilized in the pros than he was in college. But man, just having him as a weapon in college, he was basically Jamel Holloway's passing game. Man, those were some great offensive teams. She said Texas A&M went, and they've been forgotten about. Yeah, they did. They did at least compete when they first went, though, Jaime. They had Johnny Football, and they were competitive. Missouri's been competitive. I don't think either one of them has won it. I'm not even sure if either one of them. Texas A&M may have played in a championship game. Can't remember. But they haven't embarrassed themselves. I mean, everybody's acting like OU's just going to go over there and get drubbed every week. And we played a lot of these teams. And not that we played them every year, but we've tested ourselves against SEC teams on a regular basis. And I don't think Venables is afraid of it. I do think that Lincoln Riley was afraid of it. And the fact that Lincoln Riley didn't really have to pay a lot of equity to get where he got at OU. He didn't put in a lot of time. He didn't, build a foundation here. He was kind of a golden boy that got hired in to his offensive coordinator role, and then he was just in the right place at the right time. And I think most folks, that now that he's gone, now that we see what we have, we're glad to have the way we are. Oh, yeah. Well, our defenses were getting hammered in the Big 12. So, yeah, this year we lost 2 games we shouldn't have lost and finished 10-2. So, it's way better. It's definitely going up, and I think going to the SEC. I think most OU fans, you'll take an 8-4. You might even take a 7-5. As long as 2 or 3 out of every 4 years you're playing for the championship. We can have some growing pains, but we're going to compete. And I believe we're going to compete. I think we're going to compete from day one. But, it's not like OU's the only one going to have to be going through. Every other team in the SEC is doing the same thing. And Alabama's dominated it still. For how many years now? So, but plenty of others have gotten their whack at it too. Auburn had a national championship. LSU's had a national championship. Florida's had national championships. I don't know if Florida's had one since Alabama got so good again, but Texas is going to the SEC as well. I'd be a lot more worried about Texas than I would OU. But OU's owned Texas in the Big 12. Bob Stoops owned Texas. Barry Switzer had a losing record against Texas. But not Bob Stoops. Yeah, I think the transfer portal, like that first year, hurt us. Just because the players that were able to leave. But yes, as far as catching back up in a hurry, I think obviously this year with the players that they added, and yeah, they can definitely catch back up way sooner with the transfer portal. Yeah, they're still they still got a riff with each other, don't they? They haven't been playing. Are they going to play again every year now? Are Texas and A&M going to play? Are they going to go back to every year? I'd forgotten about that whole rift with them. You putting a tree up, Shane? Be curious to hear if anybody else putting a tree up either. Yeah, last year Hudson was, she didn't, she was just about 6 months old, so she just, she might have seen the lights on the tree, seen the lights outside, but this year things getting her attention, and yeah, she's definitely more interested, more able to interact. Yeah, I'm gonna put some lights up I'm gonna put the tree up and light it, and put some lights up on the balcony. Hopefully crank out a few videos today. I mentioned that a lot that I'll to check my eBay app, see if it's been delivered yet. That'll be fun. I'm not going to tell y'all what's in it because I'm planning on making an unboxing video for it. But it's a group of several lighters and some other weird stuff. A lot of times when you buy groups of smalls, you might even be the majority of lighters, but it seems like they like to throw in a lot of other small stuff too. There's an ashtray in there that I couldn't tell exactly what the advertising was for, and there were a bunch of different poker chips in the ashtray. I don't really care about all that kind of stuff. I'm just one lighter in particular that I want for my collection is really why I bought the group, because the others, nothing really stands out, but there were enough other lighters that I think I can make my money back and be able to justify keeping the one lighter. But it has not been delivered yet. It still says out for delivery. Kind of weird down here how the mail runs sometimes. Sometimes it's here by 11. Sometimes it's late in the afternoon. So does he just not want to do the chore of the cutting and the hauling back to the truck and all that, or? That's cool. We did that a time or two when the kids were younger. But the majority of the time I've just had a fake tree. And that's what I'm putting up this year's fake tree. Gotcha. Yeah, Jimmy said something to me yesterday or the day before about, well, I thought we were doing that over the Thanksgiving weekend, but we were so busy. We had things going on. Her family was up, and well, we had dinner with them the first night her sister got here, and then the next day they all came down here. We walked down the lights of Broadway, which anybody that lives in Oklahoma City, that's something you should do. It's really cool. I'm not saying it's the greatest light show you ever see, but it's a lot of light. And, really cool to see it all in such a concentrated area. But we did that on Wednesday, and then, of course, the Thanksgiving meal on Thursday, and then another meal with that part of the family on Saturday. Yeah, I don't know all the symbolism and all that, and where the tree. You'll hear people talk about the tree and how it came from pagan backgrounds, but then you also, you got the star and the different elements of the tree that I don't know where the tree started or didn't start, but I know what my intention of it is, and um, so yeah, I see the tree as an overtly Christian. Are you saying German Protestants were the origin of it? Because I have heard people argue that it was pagan in origin. Maybe just because it's a tree. I don't know. That was one criticism that God had of the Israelites in the Old Testament. Often was that they would go worship under any tree or high place, or they were basically worshiping nature rather than God. Jaime, I really didn't. But I don't eat. Like, my daughter made a green bean casserole that looked fantastic, but I don't eat carbs, so I wasn't willing to eat the fried onions. So I got, they're breaded, lightly breaded. Um, so anyway, I ate the turkey, and I think that was about it. Now, the meal they had on Saturday, that was a little bit different, because Jamie made gumbo. And so I did eat the gumbo with some brown rice. But then I also ate a meat pie. That's their, more traditional family, ethnic type food, Louisiana food. And so well, she would say I took the knee on Saturday and ate a little bit of carbs. But I didn't, the turkey was good, but, I'm not a huge turkey fan. I'm not a huge Thanksgiving meal fan anyway, but yeah, it was all right. It was good. But no, nothing really stood out to me. But I will say that people around me that were eating and I made the mashed potatoes, which I don't eat those either. People went on and on about how great they were. Of course, they were loaded up with sour cream and heavy whipping cream and butter, and just like pillowy in texture. That heavy whipping cream really fluffs them up. So, but I was glad to make them, even though I wasn't going to eat them. Yeah, it's great to be around family, and you don't get to see everybody that often, and people are busy. So, yeah, it's good. And plenty more. There are already people making plans. My mom gets kids together every year to make Christmas cookies. She's doing that here in a couple of weekends, and who knows what other. I'll have at least I don't know, at least 3 Christmases or so to go to. Yeah, most of them, Shane. Yeah, I kind of wish it hadn't happened this way, but we haven't gotten together with my mom's family for Christmas in a few years now, like 5 years. And we haven't even done the Hudson Christmas Eve thing we did it in 2000. We did it on Zoom in 2000. That was the last time we did it. So we didn't do it in 1 or 2. Yeah, so the last 2 years we haven't done it. But we're going to do the Hudson Christmas this year on New Year's Day. But as far as I know, we're still not doing the King Christmas. So it's kind of sad how some of that work out. But yeah, that's one of the 3 I'm talking about. Parent-in-laws, my mom, the Hudson Christmas. Those probably be the 3. So like I said, the Hudson Christmas will be on New Year's Day. Back in the day when they were all young hellions, that was the wild night of the year. Christmas Eve at my Uncle Paul's house. They'd all get drunk, decide they were going to go paint their names on a water tower, and all the wives kick them out. That was a long time ago, though. Yeah, and funny too, my dad, my Uncle Paul, Uncle Jay, none of them here with us anymore. But yeah, they weren't all brothers, but they all grew up that way. Very intermingled family. Intertwined, or multiple families actually. So these lighters over here are the other lighters that Gavin gave me. So these will be going into charity auction soon. We should be able to squeeze another one in before Christmas. I'll find one of the other ashtrays, maybe the Winston ashtray. Maybe one of the Lucky Strike ashtrays. Do the Lucky Strike, a camel pin, and a ZIPPO. Something like that. And you guys if you're a camel fan, like I said, go check out the one that I listed last night. That'll be going for the next 10 days. It's a camel pin, ashtray, and streak chrome 2004 new ZIPPO lighter. It's got 3 bids so far. The all-in-one kit I think ended up selling for $14.50. So you buy one of those off of Amazon, I think they typically sell for, I don't know, everything's been discounted lately. But typically those are like in the low 20s. So whoever bought that saved themselves a little bit of money and gave a little bit of money to charity as well. And I pick up the shipping on all those. So there's no shipping. Whatever you pay for the listing, the auction, is what the charity organization, which is Huntington's Disease Society of America, a genetic disease that afflicted my father, killed my father, and it's just, man, it's hard for me to put into words or to express what it was really like to be in the midst of that and watch that destroy someone you love, just steal all their dignity and their ability to function and reason, and yet there are families. It sort of came out of the blue. We don't know. It's sort of unexplained. My dad had 6 other siblings that lived to ripe old ages, and apparently none of them have it. Most families, it is a 50-50 proposition amongst all the children of affected parents, but if you spend very much time around very many of these families, you realize it seems to be a higher percentage than that. So, my dad only had 2 offspring, my brother and I, and we both tested negative. Neither of us had it. So at least as far as us, it ended with my dad on our line of the family. But like I said, it affects so many people, and it is such a brutal existence. Not only for that person that it's affected, but for their whole family and, their whole life that they've gotten used to. It's terrible. So that money goes to HDSA. We'll try to keep those going every 10 days or thereabouts. So, like I mentioned earlier, we've got several, well, three more, well, I guess two more because I've already listed one of them. Two more lighters from Gavin, several ashtrays, some other items as well. I'm not sure what all. There were a couple of some vanity plates, and I can't remember what else was in there. But once we get past that, then I usually just end up pulling lighters from our inventory. Put them down there in that penny start. Like I said, all the money goes to the charity. I pay for the shipping. You, the winning bidder, get the lighter. Well, I've enjoyed visiting with you guys today. I've almost finished my cup of coffee. I haven't fueled any lighters up. I have tested this Thorns a time or two. I fueled that up earlier, and then I left the snuffer up, so I'm sure that wick has dried out. Well, you know, there are plenty of people that do stuff like that, Sofa. And, you know, I don't know that it really would have crossed my mind. But I was, at the time when I was conceiving of this and really just starting to work with lighters, what I might be able to do with them, I spent a lot of time with my daughter around that time. And she kind of impressed on me that she thought for her generation, for people her age, younger people, and she's, you know, not all that young now. She's 20. She's in her late 20s, mid-late 20s. But she thought that it was very important for companies to give back, that it said something to their customers. She was a big fan of a shoe company called Tom's. Supposedly for every pair you bought, they donated a pair. We got a place here in Oklahoma City that for every taco you buy, they donate a taco. And there's other places that do stuff like that too. But anyway, that got me thinking, and the really cool part about it was that eBay offered that they facilitated through PayPal, that you can list something for charity. So I list everything that we sell. 10% of it goes to the same organization, HDSA, Huntington's Disease Society of America. Everything we sell, 10%. Now, we run these penny start auctions, which it's the only auctions that we run anymore. And I haven't been doing them. I did one a couple weeks ago. Just started this other one. But, you know, we've done them in the past. The first ones we were probably running I think probably in 2017. May have been 2018. I can't remember exactly when I stopped. When the inventory has gotten down there so low, and maybe my priorities were elsewhere for a period of time, then yeah, we have stopped doing those. But anyway, back to doing those now. So yeah, that's just one aspect of this small business that I have created and am trying to run as effectively as I can, is to give to that organization. When I tested negative and felt that burden come off of my back and the blessing that was to me, I just didn't see how I could just move on with my life without, you know, in some way helping them. So, you know, it's not a lot, but that's what it is. It's 10% of everything we sell. And then when we're running the penny start auctions, it is 100% of those. So it's certainly more than I would have been able to give to them and to provide. What that organization does is supports those that are affected by it and their families and their loved ones. So, but like I said, there's plenty of other people. Just like when people, give me compliments for giving away lighter parts and stuff like that. There's people all over this community that do that. So it's, I know it can be a hard world at times, but there are lights. There are bright spots. Kind of surprised that lit so fast a while ago. It's going to break my heart if I ever can't get this lighter tuned up right. It's a really attractive lighter. I'd like to put it in my pocket and be able to count on it. Just like I'd like to be able to put this Thorns on the table and be able to count on it, which I think we eventually will with the Thorns. Because when I first fueled it up, it was lighting much more reliably, but I have noticed that this wick, really wants to, it gets pushed down every time the snuffer closes. So I think perhaps it'll function a little bit better with one of David's wicks in it. We'll see about that. That'll be a different project for another day. Well, once again, I appreciate all of you joining us. And we'll try to meet here again next Wednesday, unless I'm babysitting or something else out of the ordinary comes up. But I will see you guys in the comment section of the videos. Glad that you joined us today, Jaime, and I hope that you'll join us again in the future. It's always nice to interact with somebody who is basically here in the same neighborhood as I am. We had Azrael with us, or not Azrael, Naphtha with us for a minute from Tulsa. And of course Shane and I have sat in the same room and talked about countless different topics over the course of our lives, and here we are having a chat over the internet on YouTube from thousands of miles away. But I appreciate all of you. Support all the lighter content that you see out there. Several of them over on Instagram. You got East Wa Doom Flam, which I don't know if you guys saw this or not, but I'm pretty sure I saw a post from Jad, who is East Wa, that there is an East Wa Doom Flam account on Facebook that is not him. Somebody basically stole his identity. But anyway, I know that East Wa is on TikTok. But all the other guys as well. CF77, J-Row, Lights, ZIPPO Lion's Den. I saw Magic Lighter had posted a few videos here recently. Hadn't seen him in a while. And man, I'd really like to know whatever happened to Daniel Nieves. I haven't heard from Daniel in years now, and I don't even think Daniel's account is still open on YouTube. But like I said, I appreciate all of you. And we will talk again soon. We didn't even talk about this ladder, I don't think. Until next time.